Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most important and, let's be honest, often misunderstood parts of a company valuation, the terminal value. My goal here is to totally demystify it for you. We're going to master the two main ways to calculate it, and we'll break everything down into simple, easy-to-grasp pieces. Okay, let's dive right in. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to start with the big picture. What even is terminal value? Then, we'll dig into the core idea behind why we need it in the first place. After that, we'll get our hands dirty with the two main calculation methods, the Gordon growth method and the exit multiple method. From there, we'll learn the super important step of bringing that future value back to today. And to finish, we'll wrap it all up with a quick quiz to make sure everything we learned really sticks. Sound good? Okay, so to really get our heads around terminal value, let's start with a fantastic real-world analogy that I think makes it all just click. Imagine you're buying a rental property. Honestly, this is the perfect way to grasp this core concept. Now check this out because it splits the value so clearly. The rent you collect for, say, 10 years, that's kind of like the predictable year-by-year cash flows you'd forecast in a financial model. But here's the key part. The house doesn't just disappear after 10 years, right? The huge lump sum of cash you get when you finally sell it, that is the terminal value. It's the financial tool we use to capture all the remaining worth of an asset at the very end of our forecast. And this right here shows you exactly why this matters so much. For most healthy, growing businesses, terminal value isn't just some small piece of the pie, it's the lion's share. I mean, it's often 75% or even more of the company's entire worth. So you can see why getting this number right is absolutely critical for a good valuation. So we know it's a huge number, but why do we even need it in the first place? Well, to understand that, we have to talk about a foundational concept in business and accounting called the going concern principle. Let's see how this all connects. So here's the crucial point. A healthy company doesn't just turn off the lights when our 10-year spreadsheet ends. We assume it keeps going for decades, maybe even centuries. Now, we can probably make some pretty decent forecasts for the next 5 or 10 years, but trying to predict a company's exact cash flow in the year, say, 2070, yeah, that's pretty much impossible, right? Terminal value is our elegant shortcut to capture all of that future value without having to do that impossible task. Okay, so that idea naturally leads us to our first method for calculating all that long-term value. The Gordon growth method is built completely on that going concern philosophy we just talked about. It assumes the company is just going to operate on its own, forever, growing at a slow and steady rate way out into the future. Okay, let's break this formula down piece by piece. Don't let the letters scare you, it's actually pretty logical. The terminal value, or TV, starts with the free cash flow from the very last year of your forecast. That's FCF sub N. Then, we grow that number forward just one more year using G, which is our long-term perpetual growth rate. That whole thing on top is our numerator. Then, we just divide all of that by the WACC, our discount rate, minus that same growth rate G. All right, let's make this real with some numbers. Let's say our final year's cash flow is an even $100. And we assume a pretty modest 2% long-term growth rate. Well, our numerator becomes $102. Simple enough, right? Now for the bottom part. If our discount rate, or WACC, is 10%, we just subtract that 2% growth to get a denominator of 8%, or 0.08. Finally, we just divide 102 by 0.08, and bam! You get a terminal value of $1,275. See? It's that straightforward. All right, we've got the Gordon growth method down. Now let's switch gears and look at a different approach with a totally different philosophy. Instead of assuming the company runs forever, the exit multiple method makes a much simpler assumption. At the end of our forecast, we just sell the business. And the formula? Well, it's even simpler. The terminal value is just the company's EBITDA in that final forecast year. And remember, that's just earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And you multiply that by something called an exit multiple. So where does that multiple come from? You typically find it by looking at what similar public companies are trading for in the real world right now. Let's run the numbers here too. Let's say our company is projected to generate a nice, stable, normalized EBITDA of $100 million in its final year. And our research into similar companies shows that they're trading at a median of, say, 8 times their EBITDA. Well, the math is super easy. $100 million times 8 gives us a terminal value of $800 million. Done. Fantastic work. We've just calculated this massive future value using 2 completely different methods. But listen, there is one last, absolutely crucial step we have to take. We have to bring that value, which exists 5 or 10 years from now, all the way back to what it's worth today. And this is where the time value of money comes into play. So here's the formula we're going to use. The present value of the terminal value is just that terminal value we calculated, and we divide it by a discount factor. That factor is 1 plus the WACC, all raised to the power of n, where n is just the number of years in our forecast. We use the WACC here because it perfectly captures the blended risk for everyone who has put capital into the company, both the lenders and the owners. Let's see this in action. Imagine our calculated terminal value is $1,000 at the end of a 5-year forecast, and our WACC is 10%. Our divisor is 1.10 raised to the power of 5, which comes out to about 1.61. We just divide that future $1,000 by 1.61, and we find its value today is only $621. I mean, that's the incredible power of discounting in action. And now, the grand finale. To get the company's total enterprise value, you simply add the two big pieces together. The present value of all those individual cash flows from your forecast, plus the present value of your terminal value. And just like that, you've done it. You've built a complete DCF valuation. Okay, you have done some amazing work. You've gotten through the mechanics, the philosophy. Now, to make sure all of this really sinks in and sticks, let's just run through a quick knowledge check. I'm going to ask 5 questions to test what we've just covered. Let's do it. First question for you. In simple terms, conceptually, what does terminal value actually represent in a DCF analysis? So the answer is, it captures all of the value of a company beyond our 5 to 10-year forecast period. Because healthy companies are assumed to operate forever, that's the going concern principle, the terminal value acts as a simple stand-in for an infinite stream of future cash flows. And as we saw, it's so important because it often accounts for the huge majority of a company's total value. All right, next up, questions 2 and 3 rolled into one. What are the exact formulas for our 2 primary methods, Gordon growth and exit multiple? For the Gordon growth method, the formula is the final year's free cash flow grown by 1 more year, all divided by the WACC minus the growth rate. And this is based on the key assumption that the company operates forever. On the other hand, for the exit multiple method, it's much simpler. Just the final year's EBITDA multiplied by an exit multiple, and this assumes the company gets sold. Question 4. Why do finance professionals often lean towards using the exit multiple method, especially when they're looking at more mature companies? Well, the big reason is that it grounds the valuation in real-world observable market data. It relies on what investors are actually paying for similar businesses in the market today. That makes the valuation much easier to benchmark, to justify, and to defend to clients or investment committees, especially when you compare it to relying on a more abstract assumption like a perpetual growth rate. And for our final question, why is it absolutely essential to discount the terminal value back to today, and what specific rate do we use to do it? The answer is because of that fundamental principle, the time value of money. $1 in the future is always worth less than $1 today because of risk and opportunity cost. So we have to discount that future value back to its present value. And the rate we use is the weighted average cost of capital, or WACC, because it represents the total blended risk for all of the company's investors. Fantastic job today.